As we continue our 10th year celebration, tonight's guest holds the remarkable distinction of receiving Academy Award Best Actor nominations in 3 consecutive years. Beginning his career in New Zealand and Australia, he has appeared in 25 films in a span of only 13 years. From The Crossing, for which he received an Australian Film Institute nomination, to Proof, for which he won the Australian Film Institute Award, to Romper Stomper, for which he received the Australian Film Critics Award and his 2nd Australian Film Institute Award. The Sum of Us, The Quick and the Dead, L.A. Confidential, Mystery Alaska, The Insider, for which he received his 1st Academy Award nomination and Golden Globe, British Academy Award and Chicago Film Critics Association nominations, and won the Best Actor Awards of the Broadcast Film Critics, the London Film Critics Circle, the Los Angeles Film Critics, and the National Board of Review. Gladiator, for which he received British Academy Award, Golden Globe, and Screen Actors Guild nominations, and won the Blockbuster, Broadcast Film Critics, London Film Critics Awards, and the Academy Award. A Beautiful Mind, for which he received an AFI nomination and his 3rd Academy Award nomination, and won the Golden Globe, Screen Actors Guild, Broadcast Film Critics, and British Academy Awards. And Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World. The Hollywood Film Festival has saluted him as Actor of the Year, and Show West has declared him Star of the Year. And this is how Time magazine sums it up. The Actors Studio is proud to welcome Russell Crowe. By pure chance, 6 of the first 7 guests of our 10th year have grown up in the bosom or shadow of what was once the British Empire. Where did your life begin, Russell?
I was born in Wellington, New Zealand, which is the capital city of New Zealand.
What is your father's name?
My father's name is John Alexander Crowe.
Your mother's name is what?
My mother's name is Jocelyn Yvonne Crowe.
And her maiden name was?
Weems, W-E-M-Y-S-S. My grandfather, her father, Stan Weems, who ended up being a cinematographer for the New Zealand Film Unit in the Second World War, grew up with his grandmother, who was a full-blood Maori. So there is Scottish and Maori heritage on that side of my mother's family.
When you won the Academy Award, you wore a medal.
Mm-hmm.
Whose medal was it?
It was my grandfather, Stanley J. Weems, which he received from the Queen of England for services to the Crown during the Second World War. And I wore it because I thought it was quite just appropriate in a way for myself personally. I just wanted him to be there.
How old were you when you moved the first time from New Zealand to Australia?
4 years old.
What took your parents there?
Well, my grandfather, Jack, the other one, had, among other things, he had the patent for stainless steel mufflers. And he convinced my father to stop working for the scaffolding company, which he also had the patent for, in Wellington, New Zealand, and go to Australia and open a stainless steel muffler shop. And so my father sort of sold up everything and went and did that, which didn't turn out to be a very good move. And my parents at that stage went into catering.
Catering
they did
what?
for a few years. Mainly a TV show called Spy Force. It was really interesting for me as a kid because I'd get to explore the sets and start to realize that not every door went somewhere, you know. So then it was like this whole artificial world, and it's like, oh, that's cool, you know. They gave me a part in this show, Spy Force, which you can still see. There's footage of me as a 6-year-old wearing a football jumper from a team called South Sydney, which is red and green stripes. So it's like you can't miss me, you know what I mean?
What did you get for Christmas in 1970?
I got a mid-sized guitar, which was still, you know, much larger than me. And I went right next door to a fellow called Reg Livermore's house. Now, he always had lots of parties and friends around and stuff, and was always singing with guitars and stuff, which possibly inspired me to ask for a guitar in the first place. Somebody taught me some chords, and then I went straight back home and wrote a song.
Did you ever sign up for a talent quest?
Yeah, I signed up for a talent quest once.
With your
or
guitar?
Twice. With my guitar when I was a little kid.
How'd you do?
Not very well. One by one, the kids would get up on stage and they would do their thing and all that. And I probably got about 5 or 6 kids away from getting on stage, and I just walked out the back door and went home instead.
Were you a shy kid?
Well, it's a strange combination, I would say, but I think this is kind of a natural thing in most performers. I find that there is there's an openness on one level and a frankness or whatever, but there's also, a very sort of private side of things as well. And what I just said about that talent quest, I think that illustrates. I was very shy and intensely sort of aware of the difference between terra firma and the stage. However, that same year, I started doing plays every Friday.
Where?
At Vaucluse Public School with a teacher called Mrs. Elizabeth Morgan. And I would do these war plays where basically everybody would just run around on stage and die, but there'd be some kind of point to it. Each week there'd be a new episode or whatever, and I'd spend most of Wednesday and Thursday making the uniforms out of paper, which I would then pin to the costumes of the cast members.
What high school did you attend?
I went to 3 different high schools.
Sydney Boys, I'm thinking.
I went to Sydney Boys High, Auckland Boys Grammar, and Mount Roskill Grammar.
I think it was Sydney Boys High School had a motto in Latin.
Veritate virtute.
Which means?
Truth and honor, yeah.
Unless I'm mistaken, I heard something very like it just before a battle scene.
Yes.
In Gladiator.
I went to Ridley because I was, I was looking for something that, instead of just saying goodbye. Something that felt gladiatorial, military, something that sort of, and that felt part of the time. And so I remembered that school motto, and I converted it. And I said it to him in Latin, and he sort of raised an eyebrow, and he took his cigar out of his mouth, and he goes, "What does that mean then?" And I said, "Strength and honor," and he goes, "Say that."
When you returned to Auckland with your parents, what is the Potter's Wheel?
Potter's Wheel was a hotel. It's a tavern, really. It was part of a licensing trust in the west of Auckland. It was the job my father found in order to finance moving the family from Australia back to New Zealand.
What's the flying jug?
That's the Potter's Wheel. The flying jug refers to, they used to serve beer in glass jugs roughly about this size. And if a problem started in the room, they'd start throwing their jugs.
What was the profile?
The profile was a mod band. A friend of mine called Mark Stauffer. We had a number of bands together, though, We had a 3-piece called Dave, Deceit, and the Interrogatives.
What was Roman Antics?
Roman Antics was a band after that.
Who is Russ LaRock?
I worked at a nightclub called King Creole's with a guy called Tom Sharpland. It was a 1950s nightclub. I'd worked in another club before that called Cream when I was 16 and learnt how to DJ. So now, at 16, I'm a nightclub DJ. Everybody had a nickname. And then one night, I was unfortunately given the nickname, you remember I'm 16, of Russ LaRock. And so it stuck around for a few years. I did a couple of records as Russ LaRock as well, and my DJ booth was the front end of a 1949 Mercury 88. And I really learnt some bad lessons as a DJ, I suppose, because it was the easiest thing in the world to pick up women, You got a microphone, you're playing the music, and this one's for the girl in the white dress.
I know that you were in Greece briefly in the theater, right?
Yep.
How did you happen to wind up in the Rocky Horror Show?
I bumped into a group of these people that I was in Greece with, and I said, "So what are you guys doing?" And they said, "Oh, we've just been auditioning for Rocky Horror." I said, where are the auditions? As you do, right? And they said, over at His Majesty's Theatre. So I kind of worked it out. I had my guitar with me. because I didn't have a song prepared or any sheet music or anything, so I said to the bloke, do you mind if I just accompany myself? And he said, no. So I did a song called Rapid Roy the Stock Car Boy, which is a Jim Croce song, which is kind of irreverent and cool and, you know, to me anyway. And I sang it on the stage, and the bloke walked forward, a fellow called Daniel Abenier, and he basically gave me the job. And I walked out of that theatre at the end of that day, and it's like, holy shit, now I'm a professional theatre performer, right? I'm on the road with the Rocky Horror Show. And I got 2 roles. I got Eddie, and I got Dr. Scott.
Russell received his first Australian Film Industry Award for the role of Andy in Proof. You said that film was a very good experience for you, was it?
When I read the script, I couldn't believe that somebody had written such a fantastic script. It became so important to me to be involved in that project. And luckily it came up, you know.
Russell earned the Australian Film Institute Best Actor Award for a fascinating film called Romper Stomper. What do you play in Romper Stomper?
I played the leader of a neo-Nazi skinhead gang. It's a story set in Melbourne, and it's basically a series of confrontations between the skinhead gang and a local Vietnamese population that's moving into the area. And it was one of those sort of pieces that everybody that you met and talked to about it at the time said that, you know, you shouldn't do it, it'll ruin your career, it'll affect your career, nobody will ever, you know, let you do anything else once you do that sort of film or are associated with those politics. But to me, it was a very important subject matter, and one that should definitely be on the breakfast table for discussion, particularly in Australia, and particularly I felt at that time.